The Fed has signaled that rate cuts might finally be coming in September. Some investors are thrilled, thinking that these rate cuts will boost the economy. However, others are a little bit nervous, thinking that rate cuts indicate something deeper is afoot, a recession. So let's take a look at this chart. As we can see, the past few recessions were right after a peak in the interest rates, followed by a quick rate-cutting cycle. People look at this and wonder if rate cuts signal that something's going on with the economy that indicates a recession. Will that be the case this time? If we look at economic data, it doesn't really look like it. Let's remember why the Fed hiked rates in the first place. In 2022, inflation was rampant. It peaked around 9.1%. That's the highest it's been since the early 80s. The Fed hiked up those rates in order to slow down that inflation, and they kept those rates high as inflation gradually fell. But rates are still at high levels, and some investors are worried if they stay too high for too long, it could lead to a recession. However, if we look at the data, we'll see that the last few recessions were caused by additional shocks on the economy. In 2020, it was the COVID-19 pandemic. In 2008, it was a housing market crash. And in 2001, it was the dot-com bubble bursting. Adding to these fears, we've seen unemployment rate tick up slightly recently from its 54-year low, around 3.4% in early 2023, to 4.3%. which is still historically pretty good. Also, if we go back and look at recessions that precede the 1980s, we can see that the recession started before the Fed rates peaked. The Fed cuts rates in order to get the economy out of a slowdown, but that's also why some people are worried, because it may mean that the Fed is admitting that there's a slowdown coming. That just doesn't seem to be the case this time. GDP has been strong, earning growth has been strong, and even with a cooling labor market, we're still at historically healthy levels of unemployment. So, is the Fed cutting rates because there's a recession coming? It doesn't look like it. If the Fed pulls things off, they might be able to beat inflation without pushing the US economy into a recession.